Hello all, welcome to study 92 of the Solving Studies to Improve Chess Calculation series. This endgame study comes from the Israeli American chess composer Gady Costeff. Besides being an interesting chess composer with a lot of ideas and compositions already made, he is also a computer scientist on the marketing analytics and so on. And he developed with Lois Stiller, he developed the free chess query language, CQL. The CQL, chess query language, is basically a language that allows other composers or chess players to search big, large collections of chess games and problems for specific complex themes. So it's a tool very useful for chess composers that are going more for the pro approach, if I can say that. Basically, it not only produced interesting chess compositions, but it developed a tool that is also useful for other chess composers to improve their own chess compositions. Very interesting. So, about this position, it developed many theme compositions, but I like this one. And I hope you are going also to enjoy. As always, I suggest you watch the guide if you haven't already. And after the countdown, I will come back, as always, with the solution. And here we are. And as always, let's start with the first right move, which is knight b1 exclamation mark. Okay, over here, well, we are going to see that this is sometimes an harder position to understand. But basically, we are pinning the queen over here. Of course, the queen also is threatening to take our rook. The enemy king is at the moment without any move because our king is controlling the two escape squares and the black pieces are blocking the king from moving. And so we need to find a way to threaten the position to a checkmate or something near that. And very fast we come with this idea. What is the main idea over here? Well, if, for example, the rook now takes the bishop because it was threatened to be taken by our pawn, well, we simply can checkmate. Notice that we are delivering a checkmate while the queen is pinned. And this is also an interesting feature of the composition because this composition was not made on random. It was submitted to a tournament, or at least I think it was a tournament, where the main theme was to deliver a checkmate with a queen pin. So all the study is designed around this one. Uh, and of course, over here it's game over. So the other options that black may have, like for example, okay, if I can't do that, let's go with another option. Let's say, for example, queen c1 to escape with the queen. Well, we simply can check the king. The king moves one time, check again. If the king comes back, well, I simply can take the queen, but the king, of course, approaches the queen. The idea is to take back the rook when if the rook takes, the king takes back, and next move we are going to promote one of our pawns as black. But we have this one, and it's again checkmate, and again the queen is pinned. So another version of the queen being of the king being checkmate while the queen was pinned. I think this was not shown in the solution that I saw, but I think it's also very interesting as a challenge. We check the king again, and then we check it again. Now the king is forced to come back, and here maybe we kind of struggle a bit because the queen is now protected, so it's going to promote to a queen if we take it. But we have this idea that we take first the rook with our pawn promoting to a queen. Now the black queen will take our rook, of course, but now we are going to advance the pawn. And if the pawn advances, this is going to be easy. We simply can bring our bishop, check. Notice that the king can't move any other way. And so this is going to be checkmate. So without this option, basically black is forced to move the queen again. And so if it moves, for example, to a3, so the idea is I am threatening to come my queen with to e6 or h5 before this one, of course, with the idea to checkmate. And so the queen needs to come out, but it's not enough because we simply can't find this one. And now we are threatening to checkmate. Of course, if the queen takes, I take back, and if it promotes to the queen, it's going to be game over after this. So more or less, if we go to this line, the king needs to move away. But of course, this is a bit easy. We simply check one time, the king needs to go to the side, we check it again. Now you are going to see the promotion, and of course, it's another checkmate with one queen pin. So, very interesting also. We always find a way to deliver checkmate while the queen is pinned. Let's go back a bit. And so over here, as you can see, we don't have many options. If we can take the bishop and the queen can't move anywhere, the better is to take the knight. And this is the correct move. Now white to play, of course, needs to take the queen. It's check. And of course, now black is forced to play the only possible move available, which is to advance the pawn and promote. We are going to promote to a queen on our male line, but let's see what happens if I promote to a bishop. Over here, if white is not paying attention and promotes blindly to a queen, well, what happens is the queen is controlling the file, so the king can't escape. The bishop is pinned by the rook. The pawn can't advance because the king is on f1. Our king is controlling the other two escape squares, so suddenly we are facing a stalemate draw. The king can't move, it's not check. Very interesting. But white can win by promoting to a bishop, another brilliant move. Over here, of course, the king is threatening to come out, and it's what we need to do to promote the queen on the next move. But of course, now we are able to first check the king. The king needs to move away from the diagonal. Let's say, for example, go over here, and now I simply control the promotion of the pawn. We have far more pieces than black, so this is a guaranteed win. But it's interesting that we are forced to promote to a bishop, otherwise it's going to be a different story. Notice that if, for example, we promote to a knight, this is going to be a draw because now we can't move the king away from this position, and so it will promote next move. Uh, Other options over here, interesting, is to promote to a knight. And notice that now I can't promote to a bishop, which is really amazing. Why? Because I move the king away. Now the rook checks our king. Of course, I'm not going to go to f3. I'm going to e3 because I don't want to allow any more checks from white. And notice that now the king can't come to help control the promotion. The promotion is the next move. We can't place any bishop on the other diagonal because we have our pawn in the way, so we are forced to sacrifice our rook. And now the king takes the rook, and because our two bishops are of the same color, and we need this pawn to promote to overcome the knight, uh, it's a matter of, is it possible for black to control the pawn with the knight? Yes, it is. Just let's say, for example, over here, now the knight is controlling this position. The king will come very close to the pawn. The bishops won't be able to maneuver in a way to force black pieces to abandon the control of the advancing of the pawn, and so in the end it will be a draw. So facing this situation, we already know we can't promote to a queen, but we can win if we promote to a knight. Very, very interesting. So we are kind of mirroring black, so we are able to win. Here, of course, the king moves away. We have the same situation. We are facing the problem of not being able to bring our king, but we are going to check it, and then we check it again, forcing the king to come back a bit. Now we advance the pawn, and now it's different because as we have the bishop and the knight, we are able to force the advancing of the pawn without the enemy knight to being able to sacrifice itself for it. Even if it's sacrificed for it, as you know, we are able to deliver checkmate with bishop and knight. So this is a win for white. So this is the interesting sidelines we have with the promotion to a knight and to a bishop. Now let's see the main line. Let's see what happens if we promote to a queen. Of course, white needs to take the rook, also promoting to a queen. Notice that the queen can take the queen because meanwhile it's being pinned, and so the queen takes the rook. Now, white needs to play to take advantage of the situation where the king can't move. And basically, the idea is simple. It's not that hard. We need to bring our bishop. So now we are threatening checkmate over here. For black, it's not easy to avoid. So we need to sacrifice our queen. That's the good move because that's the only way to control the checkmate. Of course, we can't take back because, again, it will be a stalemate draw. And over here, white needs to find the last but important move, because there are not many, there are only one, and the move is simply queen h5. Notice that the queen is also threatening to come and checkmate our king, which is also interesting. In the middle of everything, black is able to threaten checkmate also. So over here, the correct move, as we saw, is this brilliant h5, queen h5. Now we are threatening checkmate on d1. Of course, the queen can't take the bishop now, because when I take back, it won't be stalemate, because the king will have two squares to move away, and then I just maneuver and bring my queen and control the promotion of the pawn with some checks. And so over here, white only possible way to try to escape is to go to e1. But now we just need to check the king. The king moves. If it moves away, we simply can keep checking until we approach the pawn and control the promotion. Uh, let's say, for example, the king comes here, we simply check, the king comes back. Now I can take the bishop, can take the queen. Why? Because if the promotion is controlled, I can simply use my pawn to win the game. So over here, the king needs to come. Sorry. Okay, so over here, the king needs to come back to f1. Of course, I can take the queen again, because otherwise it's going to be stalemate draw. But of course, white can find a simple check. The king moves. Now I can take the queen. The black pawn promotes to the queen, but now I can simply win this one. This is the end. I think you enjoy all the checkmates with the queen pinned, and also the positions where we were promoting to a bishop, then replying to a bishop, we are promoting to a knight, then replying with a knight, and so on. So I think this was a very amusing study. I hope you also have enjoyed it. And as always, I see you in future ones. Bye bye.